Hey, good morning to everybody. It's Daryl P here, aka Artist in Recovery. And this is going to be a relatively short video, I hope, because I have something I have to take care of this morning. I'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, how I got the idea for this video is it's something I've noticed for a while about Beau of the Fifth Column and his videos and the way he sets up his videos. And I kind of mentioned it here and there in other videos, but I really like to talk about it today. It's a skill, a particular skill that I believe, in my opinion, that Beau is very good at. And now Belle has continued the same skill with her videos. And I'm going to point it out to you guys. If you're a viewer, if you're just a video viewer, I don't say just a video viewer, but if you're a creator, if you've created videos, you might be more likely to notice this, but I think it'll be interesting to everybody, especially, Beau the Fifth Column. They're the fans. You'll notice this to some degree. Okay, what am I talking about? I'm talking about, well, I mentioned his brand. I've mentioned brands before. This is about the thumbnail, the picture that you see when you're scrolling down through videos, the picture. That's what we call the thumbnail. And then the title. Okay, and then Beau uses what I call his tagline, and I've mentioned this before, this is his brand. This is a way that his viewers or his subscribers recognize his videos, just like his background, how he says, hey there, internet people, it's part of his brand. The way he says, let's talk about. And now Belle has continued this, but it's a little more, it goes a little deeper. And this, like I said, viewers might have noticed this, but it's the wording he uses in his titles. Okay, let me start there. The wording he uses. I've talked about this before. I get, his channel and my channel are both monetized. So we have advertisers. And for me, it's particularly hard sometimes to talk about the things I want to talk about. I need to talk about, like being artist, my name, Artist and Recovery. And I've been clean and sober for 19 years. I like to talk about addiction. But check this out. If I use the word addiction in my title, a lot of times I will get yellow lighted. In other words, it's kind of a warning. I won't get, my video isn't acceptable for most advertisers, meaning I won't get paid for it. And it's just a warning, kind of, but you don't want to get a lot of them. Back about 3 years ago, I was suspended. I wasn't suspended, but they wanted to review my monetization. So they took back my monetization for a couple months while they reviewed my channel, because they said because I was talking about Trump a lot, and they didn't know if I was picking on a particular group of people. And I got the monetization back, but it takes a lot of skill, because the title you use, and I'll talk about the thumbnail next. The title is what attracts people, especially, for me, I don't have as much of a following as Beau does. There's people, once you develop a following, people just, as they know it's your video, bam, they click right on it. But for a lot of people, a lot of channels that don't have that much of a following are still building up a following. Like me, most channels, you have to pick your words carefully. You only get so many words in a title. And like I said, I have the extra issue with the subject I like to talk about, like trying to help other people with addiction and the 12 steps and recovery, because I've succeeded so far at it. And it's a hard subject for me to broach, or talking about my past and the things I used. A lot of times, if I don't bring that up, people will say, well, you don't know what you're talking about. You probably just drank, you probably just smoked a little of this or that. You weren't really into it. And unfortunately, sometimes I really have to say, yeah, I was, and, it's almost, I hate to say this, but it's almost like street cred, unfortunately, so that people take you seriously and realize, yeah, I have been through the ringer. I know what it's like, and recovery is possible. Now, see, Beau, this is a talent that I've noticed. And Belle too. Now Belle has continued this. He uses the let's talk about, which is his brand, which attracts people to that video. The brand, that's what identifies his video. But it's got pros and cons. On the con side, though, it limits how many words, because he uses let's talk about. So that's 3 or 4 words right there. That those are words that 3 or 4 less words that you're not going to be able to use to describe the video. You see what I'm saying? So it makes it a little harder to describe. And Beau has had this talent where he can use that limited amount of words. And here's the thing that I noticed is he doesn't have to be sensational. I mean, there's like the subjects he's talked about before, about guns, about gun control, about shootings, about January 6th. And these are things that you get yellow lighted for. Like when these things happen right off the bat, you might get yellow lighted for them, like January 6th. I remember talking about that. Or shootings and stuff like, because advertisers don't want to be associated, their products to be, it's a touchy subject. And advertisers, why are they going to pay money to associate their product with a touchy, something that's a hot topic? There's, some advertisers might want to, but the majority don't. And Beau has a talent, an amazing talent for, I don't know how many of his videos get yellow lighted. That's more of a personal thing. But just looking at the way he words his titles, he's very good at describing, getting across what he's talking about, the subject, what's happened, an incident, what's going to be going on in the future. And he's very good at saying what he wants to say without actually saying the words sometimes. It's a skill. It really is a skill. And then plus in the video, usually, like there's certain words, like I said, addiction. I can't use that in the title because more than likely my video will get yellow lighted. And it's for the first 10, I believe 10 or 30 seconds, I think it is too. The initial opening. After 30 seconds, I can use more swear words and the word addiction and stuff like that. Why that is a rule, I don't know. But this is one of the things that I want to say it made me want to emulate Beau. It made me feel like he's a mentor. He's somebody that inspired me. That's the way I'd like to phrase it. By seeing this particular talent. Some people have to be sensational and use, what you call clickbait and stuff like that. Certain words that are just, border or offensive or borderline offensive. And some of these channels aren't monetized, or they have different ways of making money, so they don't have to please advertisers sometimes. So they can be as offensive or sensational as they want. But like I said, to me, it's a class act, and plus it's a skill. Being able to talk about a touchy subject without appearing sensationalistic, without being clickbaity, if that's a word. Okay, the other thing is the thumbnail. This is another thing that attracted to me, to meet Beau and his channel, and Belle, even still now, make him a mentor to me, because it's just a basic, what they use is just a picture that the YouTube algorithm picks. If you don't pick a particular picture to use as your thumbnail, YouTube will use an algorithm and pick one for you. Pick usually, when you have an expression on your face where you're moving your hands, that's the one that the YouTube algorithm will pick. If you don't pick one for yourself, then the algorithm will pick one for you. With me, unfortunately, a lot of times the algorithm picks me like this, bad driver's license photos. I don't know why, if the algorithm hates me or what, but it tends to do that with my especially with short videos. Again, Beau and Belle are not sensationalistic or clickbaity. They're the opposite of that. And this is what I think too. I'm not kissing butt here, but it takes a certain kind of viewer to appreciate that. I think it's viewers that want to be informed, that want to learn, not somebody looking for the hottest topic or anything sensational. It takes patience to watch the video, to understand the video and the topic. Even though there's 3 or 4 minute videos, they're very well built so that you want to watch the whole video, and it's very informative without being sensationalistic. And these are the things that attracted me to his channel, to, like I said, not to emulate. When I first saw his channel, I thought that's something I could do too. Not including his talent, obviously, but because he had a basic background, it was a basic guy just sitting there, because I didn't have the talent to use text in the video or put clips in and get copyright okays for putting clips in my videos, or having closed captions, or skipping to different video clips and music and all that stuff. Beau is just, she sits down in front of the camera in his workshop. He opens it up. How you doing? And he talks about it for 3 or 4 minutes, and he does fantastic. And I just love that about him. It was a basic, non-sensationalistic channel, and it worked. It worked great. And the types of viewers, and this is another thing I liked about it, is it didn't pull in just people on the left. There's a lot of people on the right that watch this channel too, or in the middle, or libertarians, and that takes that is probably one of the hardest things to accomplish, in my opinion, is have people, especially in this day and age with the division in this country that just seems to be growing more and more, is to have people from both sides, from different areas in the spectrum, to watch the same video and comment on it, and still be civil. Like if you look in Beau's comments and Belle's comments, these are the things that maybe some viewers didn't notice. But being a creator and having to put thumbnails up and having to do my own titles every day, it's something that I noticed. And believe me, I still get yellow lighted, once a month maybe. I try to be careful about it, but sometimes I just need to talk about what I need to talk about, being in recovery, so it's a little more of a tricky subject. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Beau rocks. I'm off to the doctor today. I have my physical. I'm supposed to go. I'm late right now. I told you guys before, I wake up every morning and start going through the news feeds to see what I'm going to talk about in the video. And I've noticed over the last 6 months or so, as I'm sitting there after I wake up about 2 in the morning, I'm looking through all the stories about Trump and Venezuelan boat strikes and ICE and disregard, him wanting to run in 2028, and my stomach starts to hurt. And it's been getting worse, actually. So I'm going to the doctor today. I may actually have God forbid, I might actually have an ulcer. I hope not. And I talked about this before, about, and Beau did 2, 3, maybe even 4 videos a day sometimes, and if you're a creator, it's more than just sitting in front of the camera. There's a lot of thinking and planning into just doing a 3-minute video. Plus you have to keep a constant eye on what's going around the world, around the country, in Washington, D.C. You have to be right on the ball all the time and be ready to do a video. And I could see if Beau is taking a break from being stressed out, which is what I've heard. I don't want to be a gossip, but I could definitely understand how it could, how the pressure could take a toll on people. It really is. Creating these videos is really a job. It really is, and it's not an easy one. All right, enjoy. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Beau rocks. Have a great Monday.